I'm going to show you how to crochet an Auryn talisman. This is a really big one because I used plushy yarn. You can do it with micro crochet or use DK and that'll be a lot smaller. Yes, this is the yarn I'm using with a 6.5mm hook, and basically I'm going to make 2 snakes and then just sew them together. So we're starting off with a magic circle. So you take the yarn, wrap it around 2 of the fingers once, cross the yarn over, then wrap it around behind that again. Take your hook, go under the first one, grab the second bit, pull it through to the front, then you got like a hoop on your hook. Then you're gonna grab the tail of the yarn and bring that through, and then you've got a hoop here. And we're gonna crochet through the hoop. So you go under there, through the hoop, grab the yarn, pull it through to do a single crochet. And we're going to do 6 single crochets in this first round. So each row, we're just going to go around in a spiral. We're not going to finish the row all neatly and then do with a slip stitch. Once we get to the end of the row, so after the 6th single crochet, we're just going to crochet directly into that first one to start the next row. So here you're going to need 6 single crochets. You can clearly see them with this plushy yarn. And then you just want to pull the tail of that circle and it will close it up. If you're using this yarn though, don't really tug it. You might have to massage the stitches a bit just to get them moving, because if you do just pull it, it will probably break. So just take your time with it. If you're using normal DK yarn, that's probably a lot easier. This plushy yarn can be a bit of a bugger to play with, to use. So this row 2, I'm going to go straight into the top of that first stitch of the row before. So we're going to increase in each stitch now, so we're going to do 6 increases. So we're going to go through that stitch, and grab the yarn, pull it through, grab the yarn again, pull it through 2 hoops. And because we're working in a spiral, it's really important to have some sort of stitch marker on that first stitch so you know where the row actually starts. And then we're going to go in that same stitch and do another single crochet. So each stitch in this row is going to have 2 single crochets. That's all an increase is. You're just putting 2 stitches in the 1 stitch on the row before. So we've got to do that 6 times, and then at the end of this row you'll end up with 12 stitches because you've put 2 in each. And here we're actually working on the snake's head. So you have to make 2 separate stakes. And once you got to the end, you can see you've got to that first stitch because you got to the marker. And for this row, you're going to do a single crochet. And then mark that stitch. And then you're going to do an increase. Then we're going to repeat this 6 times. So in that second stitch, you're going to put 2 stitches. And then we're going to do 1 stitch. And then 2 stitches in the next one. So you want single crochet, increase 6 times until you get to the end of the row. Or the round. Is it still called rows when it's in the round? But I decided to do it in a spiral because it just seems a bit nicer when it's a snake, like without the like seam going up the middle, which you sometimes get. So the pattern for this will be on my Ko-fi page for you to download and copy. When I say copy, I mean like go through it, don't copy it and then sell it as your own. Okay, so that's the third row done. And then the next row, we are just going to do single crochets in each one. So after row 3 you should have 18 stitches. So mark that first stitch and just put 1 single crochet into every stitch for rows 4, 5 and 6. So for those 3 rows you should still have 18 stitches. That would have got a very boring pattern to sped it up. Probably could have just cut it because you can't see what I'm doing anyway. And when it starts to curl, just decide what, it doesn't really matter what side you have it, but everyone tends to have a preference because they do look slightly different. Decide what side you want on the outside and make sure that's on the outside of the curve. So it'll be harder to do later. So we carry on with rows 4 to 6 with the single crochets. Okay, row 7 is going to be slightly different. So I want to start making like the flatter kind of shape of a snake. So I'm going to start off with putting a stitch marker in the first stitch, but that first one is going to be an increase. So there's 2 stitches in there, followed by another increase. Then we're going to do 7 single crochets. So I wanted the increases to be at the side so it fans out at the side. It's going to be 7 single crochets after that. And once we've got to the end of that, we're just going to repeat it. So that's 2 increases, 7 single crochets, then we want to do 2 increases and another 7 crochets, single crochets, and then we'll be finished that round, and you should have 22 stitches after this. So that was 2 increases, 7 single crochets twice. Then we get to the next row, which is row 8. Here you want to do a single crochet at the stitch mark, and then we're going to do an increase followed by another increase, and then there's going to be 9 single crochets following this. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I count that wrong? 9. No. And then we're going to do 2 increases, followed by 8 single crochets. So this was row 8 is single crochet, 2 increases, 9 single crochet, 2 increases, 8 single crochet. And then you'll end up with 26 stitches. Then row 9, we'll start in a second. So row 9, you're going to start off with a single crochet, stitch mark, and another single crochet, then 2 increases. So that's 1, that's 2, and now that's going to be followed by 11 single crochets. So it's very important to keep count. There's some projects where you don't really have to, you can kind of eyeball it, but this one is very important to count. If you put a stitch in the wrong place, like the increase in the wrong place, it will look really weird. Some projects you can get away with the odd stitch in the wrong place, but this one is not very forgiving. After the 11 single crochets, you're going to do 2 increases. And this followed by 9 single crochets. And then that's the end of the round. So row 9, 2 single crochets, 2 increases, 11 single crochets, 2 increases, 9 single crochets, and you'll have 30 stitches at the end of this round. Rows 10 to 13 is single crochets, so 1 crochet in each, and again 30 stitches each round. So 10 to 13. Really simple. Then we're going to start decreasing in the row 14. And as you can see, it's actually starting to have a little kind of like a weird shape. This is the head of the snake. So hopefully it kind of looks like it. So row 14 starts off with a single crochet, and then it's 4 decreases. So decreases is just turning 2 stitches into 1. So with a single crochet you just go through 1 stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, then you go straight through to the next stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through again. You've got 3 hoops on there, grab the yarn and pull it all through all 3 hoops, and you've just turned 2 stitches into 1. So you want to do that 4 times. Two, go through 1 stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, next stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, grab the yarn, pull it through all 3 hoops, that's 3, and there's 1 more, that's 4. Then we are doing 7 single crochets. So the next 7 stitches would just be single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then followed by another 4 decreases. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there should be 6 stitches left, which we're just going to do a single crochet in each one. So row 14, single crochet, 4 decreases, 7 single crochet, 4 decreases, 6 single crochet, and you should have 22 stitches at the end of this row. Row 15 is another one where we decrease. So take off the stitch marker. We're just going to do a single crochet. And then we're just going to do 2 decreases here. So the same way, go into the 2 stitches and make them into 1. So that's 1, 2. Then this is going to be followed by 7 single crochets. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 2 decreases. 1 and 2. And then this is followed by 6 single crochets. So row 15, single crochet, 2 decreases, 7 single crochet, 2 decreases, 6 single crochet, and you should have 18 stitches at the end of this. So this is the head done. Next is the body, which does get a bit boring. And as you're going as well, you want to stuff this. You don't leave it to the last minute to stuff it. You want to start stuffing it now. You know, after every so many rows, stuff it a bit more, because we're now going to go on to the body. So through rows 16 to 210, you're just going to do single crochets. So it's going to be 95 rows of single crochets, each one having 18 stitches. And that does, with the size of this it got awkward. So if it was small and you could easily move it about, this literally did, the snake ended up nearly as tall as me. Yeah, so row 16 to 210, just single crochets. Like I said, it's 95 rows of single crochets, 18 stitches in each row. So obviously that I'm going to skip, because like I say, that got boring, and it actually took a while, because once I got like halfway, it did get awkward. I had to keep turning the snake over. So this is what it looks like when it's this size. And then we're going to start basically putting the tail off, like making it into a point. And I'm just going to put 1 decrease in each row. So you can do decrease 16 single crochets for row 211, decrease 15 single crochets and keep going until you end up with 7 single crochets, doing 1 decrease in each row. That does kind of make it into like, you can tell where the decreases are if you do them in the same space, or you could just put the decrease randomly into the rows. So you can do like a couple of single crochets, then a decrease in each of the rows. As long as you get 1 decrease in that row somewhere, it'll work out. So until you get to 1 decrease and you've got 7 single crochets, which is row 220. 221, you're left with 8 stitches, so you just do 4 decreases in that, which does get fiddly. And then the last row would be 222, where you've got 4 stitches. You just want to do 2 decreases and then tie it off. And this should end the tail nicely. I'm not sure if I explained the tail decently, but like I say, the pattern will be on my coffee page. Why do I keep saying coffee? Coffee, I think it's coffee. It's got a K though. I don't know. It will be free to download. So you can see exactly the pattern that I came up with for this. I'd say these last couple of stitches do get a bit fiddly. And when you're finished doing the last stitch, just do a slip stitch and then cut the excess yarn off, pull the tail through, and it should hold nicely. Sorry I went off camera a bit there. It's like I say, it's fiddly. You have to like really see quite up close. Wow, I thought I'd got out of that habit of going off camera, but obviously I haven't. So that's where I finished. Just pull the excess yarn through, pull it nice and tight, then you can sew that in later. So this is the snake, and then you have to do it all over again because you need 2. So I've done it in a kind of gold colour and a silver colour, or grey colour. The goldy colour kind of reminds me of a chicken nugget. So you can use this yarn to sew the snake's head to the snake's butt on each one of them. Though I did find this actually really awkward, so I ended up sewing them together using DK yarn in the end because it just annoyed me too much. But yeah, you just want to attach the snake's head to the snake's butt on one of them. And then we are now going to kind of like move them about and attempt to get them in the right positions. I did have a picture reference of the actual necklace, so I knew which ways they had to like bend. And this did take a while of actually getting them in the right position. It was very awkward. Still not happy with it. I'm going to actually undo it a little bit and just maybe do it a little tighter. Because if it's a bit too loose, then it doesn't quite sit right. If it's a bit tighter, then it can be used as like a cushion and stuff as well. Like I say, it does take a lot of movement around. But you will get there. does get annoying, but you'll get there. Once you've got it how you want it, then you just have to sew the other head and butt together. And then basically anywhere where it overlaps another bit of the snake, either its own snake or the opposite snake, you want them to sew them together. You don't have to sew it a lot, just a couple of little knots will do at each point it crosses over, and that will stay in place and it's all sorted, and then you're done. So hope you enjoyed this, hopefully I explained it well enough, and thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye. Make a patchwork of our